Anthony woke up in the morning with a terrible headache, as if someone were hammering inside his head. He groaned and closed his eyes. It got better, and he was about to fall asleep again when the phone rang by his ear. He didn't feel like talking, but the sound echoed painfully in his head, so he reached out to answer. "Hello, I'm listening." "Hey, buddy, how are you?" "I'm not great. Did we drink a lot yesterday? My head hurts so much I can't even get up." "And why are you up so early, Anthony? What's wrong with you?" "I have to go to college. I can't skip class. I don't have parents like you, they won't pay for me." "Ah, well, good luck then. I'll go back to sleep." He hung up the phone and closed his eyes again. His mouth was dry, and he was really thirsty, but he couldn't summon the strength to get up. He continued to lie there. Besides, his father hadn't gone to work yet. If he saw his son, he'd start lecturing him immediately. He'd say he didn't work so hard for his son to squander money left and right. Why else should I spend it? What's the point in saving it? Life is short, you have to have fun, Anthony thought. Besides, my father doesn't even remember what he wants anymore. He's always at work, and my mom hardly sees him. He barely had anything to do with my upbringing. He always solved everything with money. So what does he want now? I'm used to this. Anthony managed to get up closer to 2 in the afternoon. Even then, he would have stayed in bed longer, but he was terribly thirsty. The house was quiet, and he went to the kitchen. Miss Parker, their cook, was standing by the stove, preparing something. She looked at Anthony as he entered inside, then she went to the refrigerator. "Well, here you go. Solyanka is a good remedy in the morning. Drink it and take a shower. I'll prepare something for you." "Thank you, Miss Parker. Is anyone else at home?" "Yes, your mother is at home. Your father left early in the morning." The young man took a shower, which he really needed. He ate heartily and went upstairs to greet his mother. Mrs. Evans was sitting in his father's office, typing something on the computer. When she saw her son, she smiled and motioned for him to come over. "Hi, son. I see you skipped college again today. Please, I beg you, don't upset your father. He was very angry with you yesterday. He threatened to kick you out of the house or take everything away from you. Mom, let him do it. He'll regret it later. Besides, he wanted me to study math. I wasn't interested in that, so I'm not enjoying it. There, let him know that, Anthony. You're a smart boy, you should understand that higher education is very important in our time. Yes, you have well-off parents, but believe me, sooner or later, we won't be here. What will you do then?" "Mom, you just said I'm a smart boy, so I'll definitely figure something out." Anthony looked at his mother and smiled. He would really like to have a wife like his mother in the future, someone as beautiful, intelligent, and kind as she was. She and his father met at college, only she could tame his tough character. With her, he became gentle, didn't shout, and even smiled. All his business partners were very afraid of him, they knew about his iron will. Mr. Evans was always very strict with his subordinates, demanding maximum performance from them. If an employee deserved praise, he was not stingy with it. But if he saw laziness or incompetence, he would fire the person on the spot. His construction company was huge, with branches in different cities. He often traveled on business trips to personally inspect the work of his employees. During such trips, he always took his wife with him. When Anthony was little, he stayed home with a nanny. As he grew up, he went with his parents a couple of times, but he didn't like it, it was too boring for him. Then, when he finished school and entered college, life became more colorful, clubs, girls, entertainment every day. He didn't understand his father. How could someone work all the time and never take a break, right? Such a life was not for him. "All right, Mom, I'm off. I need to stop by Stevens to pick up some notes. I'll study so as you say. I won't upset Dad." "Thank you, son. By the way, your father took the keys to your car. He said he got too many fines this week because of it. And also, if his son can't drive properly, he should walk instead. Mom, come on. My father is a millionaire, and he's taking away my car over some fines. He earned his millions himself, and he knows how to manage them. When you start earning your own money, you'll understand that spending it recklessly isn't wise. Anthony angrily slammed the door. It was wrong, of course, to take his frustration out on his mother, but he couldn't help himself. Why did he have to do that? I can't live without my car. He went to the garage and approached Mr. Foster, who was their mechanic, janitor, and gardener. Hello, Mr. Foster. Do you happen to have spare keys for my car? Yes, they were somewhere. I have spare keys for your cars in case you lose them. Did you lose your keys? Yes, I can't remember where I put them. I've been looking for them everywhere. Well, wait a moment. I'll check. A minute later, he brought out the spare keys for Anthony's latest model BMW. Thank you, Mr. Foster. You've saved me. When he sat in his car, he immediately felt better. His father knew his weakness and decided to strike where it hurt, but it didn't work. Anthony grinned. I really should go to college, at least for a couple of days, just to avoid angering my father. Otherwise, he might take everything away, and arguing with him would be more expensive, he thought as he pressed the gas pedal. He arrived at his friend Stephen's house. Stephen lived on the other side of the city, that's why he often stayed overnight at his friend's place. They partied hard but never skipped classes, education was a priority. Hey, are you home? Anthony asked when he parked. If not, I'm downstairs. Please bring all the notes. My father is on a rampage again, and I need to calm him down a bit. Stephen got into the car and handed over a stack of notebooks. Here you go. And, by the way, what are you thinking? It's our last year in college. Are you seriously going to waste 4 years like this? If you don't show up in the next few days, they're threatening to kick you out. All right, I'll show up. I can't upset my old man right now. Listen, how about we go to my place? I'll study and catch up on things, and you can explain anything that's unclear to me. Okay, but I have to be home in the evening. My mom caught me in a drunken state yesterday. Luckily, she didn't say anything to Dad, otherwise, I'd be in big trouble. Anthony managed to attend classes for 2 days, but then he started skipping again, disappearing with his friends for street racing. He enjoyed racing through the city at night, ignoring all rules and feeling complete freedom. On that day, they decided to race as usual, but the police set up a trap for the racers, and Anthony got caught. He spent almost a day in the holding cell before his father came to pick him up. His father looked at him sternly and then said, Honestly, I didn't really want to come and get you from here. I thought you should spend 15 days in there to think about your actions. Thank your mother, she insisted on your release. Anthony understood that it was better to remain silent for now and let his father cool down a bit. They drove home, and his father finally broke the silence. Listen to me carefully. I won't return your cars, that's one thing. Secondly, starting tomorrow, you're going to college. There's only a month left to finish your studies, so be kind enough to complete it. As for what happens afterward, we'll see. If I find out you're not attending college again, don't blame me. Anthony didn't sleep all night. He was upset that his father took away the car. He couldn't even imagine how he would live without a car now. Anger boiled inside him, and he decided to do nothing out of spite, not going to college. I'm a grown man now, he thought. There's no need to indulge me. I'll do what I want. After all, my father knows that the car means everything to me. He's hitting me where it hurts the most, that jerk. Early in the morning, he left and went to his friends with whom he used to hang out. Hey, Ron, can I crash at your place for a couple of days? He asked his friend. My folks have been all over me. Sure thing. Just so you know, I don't have any food, so you'll have to fend for yourself. Anthony patted his pockets, but all he had was some loose change. Yeah, I'm low on cash too, to be honest. Oh, come on. The millionaire's son is living like a pauper. If I had a father like yours, I'd always have money. If you had a father like mine, Anthony mocked him, you wouldn't be alive. It's easy to say things when you don't know much, and taking money from him is not that simple. Well, whatever the situation, they're not in a hurry to just hand you money. And don't think I'm joking, I'm dead serious. It's my place, and you'll have to fend for yourself. Anthony only now realized that he essentially had nothing. He had no real friends, they were only around when he had money. When he didn't, they didn't care about him. Mr. Evans was driving home, thinking about his son. What has become of this boy? He's completely gone astray, and I had high hopes for him. I thought he would finish college, come work with me, get married, and settle down. But no, it's the opposite. He's not studying, he's up to no good, always disappearing. Something needs to be done about this. If I let this continue unchecked, he'll ruin himself. And he's very smart, he graduated from high school with honors. What happened to him is unclear. He weirdly looked at the driver and noticed that he was telling him something. He frowned and tried to understand. So, Mr. Evans, I got my son married, and he's doing great. Now he's really turned his life around. He loves his wife, works hard, dreams of having kids. But before that, I had no idea what to do with him. What's going on with today's youth is incomprehensible. That's an idea, Mr. Evans thought. Exactly, he needs to get married. But to a decent girl, not one who will run away after the second day. And she should be as much of a troublemaker as he is, someone a bit older who can teach him a thing or two. He remembered that he often saw homeless people near his office, and there was a homeless girl who always hung around them. Anthony was often in that area. Mr. Evans also noticed her because he thought that if she were cleaned up and dressed properly, she would be very beautiful. So he decided to talk to her. He promised her money and asked for her help in reforming his son. It took Mr. Evans and his personal driver Leo, who was aware of the boss's plan, a whole week to find her. He had almost lost hope when he saw two police officers dragging her into their car. Leo, stop. There she is. Hurry up, or they'll drive away. After a conversation with the police and securing the girl, they drove to Mr. Evans' office. What do you want from me? She said defiantly. I'm not one of them. Let me go. Not one of them? Who did you mean? Mr. Evans asked. Well, I'm not a loose woman or a drug addict who would do anything for drugs. So why did the police take you? I was standing near the shopping center next to the dumpsters. They usually throw away leftovers and other stuff around 8 a.m., you know, expired things and such. And then two homeless guys decided I had no right to take anything there, so I got angry. Someone saw our fight and called the police. They ran away, and I got caught. Do you want to earn some money? Yes, I do. But first, I need to know what you want from me because I'm not a thief and I won't do anything criminal. I'm looking at you, and I think, not a thief, not a drug addict, not a call girl. Almost like an angel in the flesh. So why is your life like this? Why aren't you studying or working? It's a long story. You won't understand. Anyway, Mr. Evans was starting to like this girl, despite her homeless situation. He could see she was intelligent and determined not to sink further down in life, which earned his respect. Why don't you try telling me? I'm not stupid, I think I can figure it out. Abigail had grown up in an orphanage. Her parents had died when she was 5.5 years old. I remember my father carrying me on his shoulders, and my mother used to bake delicious cherry pies. I loved them so much. After my parents died, none of my relatives wanted to be my guardian. They refused to take care of me and sent me to the orphanage. I can tell you it was not a pleasant place. There was very little kindness. Then a new caretaker, Mr. Simmons, arrived. I don't know what came over him, but he was relentless with me. He harassed me in various ways, and once he almost assaulted me. In the end, I just ran away. So now I have no documents, no home, nothing at all. Without documents, I can't go to school or even get a job. That's my story. Listen, Abigail, I have a rather unusual request for you. I'll explain everything to you in a moment, but here's one thing. If you agree, you'll get your documents right away. You can enroll in college and start studying. Then, I promise you a good job where you'll learn. Well, if I think you've done an excellent job with your task, I'll buy you a house, a car, and give you money. So, what do you say? Am I supposed to destroy someone? No, not at all. It's quite simple. You just need to become my son's wife. Abigail was somewhat shocked by Mr. Evans' proposal. At that moment, however, she understood that this was her chance to escape poverty and finally live a normal life. She wasn't afraid of the guy she had to reform. She had handled much tougher cases. It just seemed so unreal, almost like she was dreaming. A few times during her conversation with Anthony's father, she pinched herself to make sure she wasn't asleep. It's like I'm dreaming. This doesn't happen in real life. I've seen something similar in movies. Are you kidding me with your wealth and connections? Abigail wondered. I'm absolutely serious. Say yes, and your life will get better. Mr. Evans kept his word. The next day, her documents were in front of her. With such money and connections these days, anything is possible, she thought. So, we'll go to the store now. You need to buy everything you need and get some new clothes. If it were just my son and me living in the house, trust me, I'd bring you without any fuss. But since my wife, Mrs. Evans, is also in the house, she would be shocked to see you. And how will you explain everything to your wife? That's my problem. You don't need to worry about that. You just need to do what I say. You can choose your college. I'll take care of everything. I see that you need an education. You're very intelligent. Without an education, you won't get far in life. By the way, you'll need to undergo a medical examination. You understand that you'll be part of our family, and where you lived before, who knows how much infection there might be. Don't take offense, but these are my conditions. I'll do as you say. It doesn't matter to me. Being picky in my situation would be foolish. Besides, it won't harm me. That's the spirit. Today, they'll take you to the clinic, and tomorrow you should start implementing our plan. My son is at home right now, and he's been disciplined. I told him that I'd make a decisive decision about him because the way he's living is unacceptable. He's destroying himself, and he's such a smart guy. Besides, he's my son. I have high hopes for him. When Mr. Evans received Abigail's medical report, he was surprised. Besides being completely healthy, she was still a virgin. I didn't make a mistake about her after all. She's really something. And it shouldn't be any different. She wasn't born into an alcoholic family. Even though normal children grow up there too, she grew up in a good family where love and harmony prevailed. It's strange that her relatives were so quick to abandon her. Anthony anxiously awaited his father. He didn't know what his father had come up with this time, but he remembered that he shouldn't expect anything good. This time, his father was extremely angry with him. Even his mother was very worried for her son. There was a knock on the door, and a moment later, Mrs. Evans looked into the room. "Sweetie, let's go to the study. Your father said he'd be home soon, and he wants to talk to you. Are we having a family meeting now?" "Anthony, please don't be sarcastic. Listen to your father. If you argue with him, it will only make things worse." "Okay, Mom. Don't worry. Let's see what he's come up with for me this time." Anthony was surprised when he saw that his father had come in not alone, but with a girl. He had to admit she was beautiful, possessing a wild kind of beauty. "All right, son, meet Abigail, your future wife." "What, have you gone crazy? I don't want to get married. I don't need this." "Son, be careful," Mrs. Evans interjected. "You shouldn't insult." She hasn't done anything wrong to you. Please keep yourself in check. Anthony fell silent, not wanting to hurt his mother, although cutting remarks danced on the tip of his tongue. Why did Dad decide this all of a sudden, he wondered. And he even chose a wife for me himself. He could have at least asked who I liked. Besides, he brought in some random girl who isn't even attractive. Get acquainted, Abigail, Mr. Evans continued. This is my wife, Mrs. Evans, the mother of this layabout here. I'm tired of watching you squander my money and ruin yourself with constant drinking. I want you to have a family, to start providing for your wife yourself. She's still studying, and you will study and work from tomorrow. Now go to the room and get to know each other better. I don't need her. Let her roll away somewhere else. Anthony yelled and stormed out of the office. Mrs. Evans, apologizing, followed her son. Just a small correction. Forgive me, but I won't be sleeping with your son. I don't think it will come to that. I'm simply asking you to be strict with him, as you know how to be. Show him that there are other ways to live, because he's gotten used to living like this and doesn't think that things can be different. All right, I'll do my best. Half an hour later, Abigail entered Anthony's room. He was lying on the bed, listening to music. He deliberately ignored her arrival. She wasn't surprised. Instead, she walked up and tugged on his earphones. After listening to the music playing, she made a face. You act all tough, but you listen to this trash. And like you listen to something better. Do you even understand anything? I can understand you better than you think. Believe me, I can prove it right now. By the way, I'm not thrilled about all of this either. You're not my type. I prefer tough guys, and you're some rich kid. You're not interesting to me. Besides, this trashy music. Do you like anything else? Yeah, I love cars. I enjoy racing them, Anthony replied, his pride slightly bruised by Abigail's comment about him being a rich kid. You racing cars? You're not kidding me. Do you even know what racing is? Yes, it's my favorite activity. Don't believe me? Let's go. I'll show you, and you'll be begging for mercy. All right, impress me. But remember, if you don't prove you're a racer, you're going to college starting tomorrow. But if you do, I'm packing my bags and leaving this house. Deal, Abigail extended her hand. Deal. Let's go. Just don't forget to buckle up, Anthony said, shaking her hand. He took her for a ride through the nighttime city, making sharp turns, but Abigail didn't even flinch. She even yawned a few times, clearly showing how bored she was. This is exactly what I expected. All right, now it's your turn. I'll show you how it's done, she said. Me? Let you do. Do you even know how to drive? You won't see that unless you let me take the wheel. Okay, fine. Get in. Let's see how you drive. I hope we'll make it home by morning. Abigail chuckled and got into the driver's seat. After shifting gears, she hit the gas, and the car roared forward with a screech. Anthony was pushed back into his seat, and he grabbed onto the handhold, unable to take his eyes off the road. He had only seen what Abigail was doing in movies, and even then, he thought it was impossible. Now, as they finally pulled up to the house, Anthony was at a loss for words. He looked at Abigail with newfound respect. Listen, Abigail, how about we go to a club tomorrow? I'll introduce you to my friends, Anthony suggested. I have much more interesting plans, and they're way better than your club. By the way, do you remember the bet? Let's go to sleep, we have classes tomorrow. The next morning, Mr. Evans witnessed an unusual scene. His son was waiting for Abigail so they could go to college together. Through his connections, he had also managed to get Abigail into a mathematics program. She had passed all the exams and was admitted to the first year, even though it was already almost over. Achieving this was nearly impossible, and Abigail was genuinely surprised when she was accepted. Big money solves everything, Anthony's father told her, but I believe you'll succeed. By the way, I'm surprised. Where did you get such knowledge? But didn't I tell you? I was studying while I was in the orphanage. We had good teachers there, and my knowledge came in handy. I told you, my life had very different plans until one person ruined it all. He's already been fired from there, and believe me, he won't find work in his profession anymore. He won't find a job among decent people. Mr. Evans chuckled. Anthony started to see Abigail in a different light. He couldn't believe where this seemingly fragile girl had found the strength and courage, what she had done the day before, something only a seasoned racer could handle. After college, he waited for Abigail, and they drove home together. He wanted to crash into bed, but she wouldn't allow it. Anthony, I need your help. I don't understand a lot of things here, and the exams are coming up soon. Help me out. In return, I promise to teach you a few driving tricks. If you get me through these exams, I'll teach you to drive just like I do. They spent the entire day studying, only taking breaks to eat in the kitchen. Anthony's mother was surprised to see her son spending the entire day with this girl. In the evening, Abigail taught Anthony to drive, and then she asked him to get behind the wheel, taking him somewhere. After an hour, they arrived at a beautiful place Anthony didn't even know existed near their city. Abigail got out of the car and sat on the hood. Look, she said. You can only see the sunset from here. It's incredibly beautiful. My father used to bring me here when I was very young, and we would sit here for a long time. Do you remember all of this? Until now, Anthony asked. Yes, I remember. Driving is in my blood. My father was a professional racer, and I used to dream that he would teach me everything. But they died and I was left alone. Where did you live then? In the orphanage. Then, when I turned 17, I met a guy. He taught me how to drive, but Morty got sick unexpectedly and died shortly afterward. It was a shock for me. He was my best friend. After that, I wandered, lived with homeless people. By the way, among them, there are very good people who also taught me a lot. You see, I'm strong. No matter what happens to me in life now, I'll survive any situation. I can feed and protect myself. But can you? Anthony fell silent. It was dawning on him that they were entirely different people. He was a useless person who couldn't do anything, just squandering his father's money. He felt ashamed. Some girl knew more about life, was prepared for anything, and took pleasure in living. Abigail, let's head home. It's already late, and we have to go to college tomorrow. Anthony passed his exams with honors, earning a red diploma. Thanks to him, Abigail also passed all her exams. In the evening, they brought some food and went to the place where Abigail had taken him for the first time to celebrate their success. Thank you, Abigail. I feel different now, you know. What's amazing is I always thought I had many friends, but when I stopped going to the club and stopped paying for their whims, they all forgot about me. You see, they didn't need you, they needed your money, or rather, your father's money. If you had earned it yourself, believe me, it would have been unpleasant for you. That someone was living off you, and when you stopped financing their indulgences, they lost interest in you immediately. Yes, by the way, regarding earning a living, tomorrow I'm going to my father to get a job. I'll start from the bottom, as my father says. I need to understand everything from the beginning. It will help me grasp the essence of it all. He's right. I think you'll do well. Besides, I have to provide for my future wife, as she won't start working anytime soon. You, Abigail, need to continue your education, and my part is to earn a living for us. Abigail sadly smiled. She liked Anthony. He turned out to be a great guy and not as clueless as she initially thought. But their backgrounds were so different. Besides, he should marry someone from his own social circle, not someone like her. Anthony started working at his father's company and put in a lot of effort. He wanted to prove to himself that he was capable of much more. In truth, it wasn't just for himself, it was primarily for Daria. He was in love with her and couldn't imagine his life without her smile. He noticed that Abigail had improved her relationship with his mother, and Mrs. Evans had started treating her like a daughter. While he was at work and Abigail was on break from school, they spent almost the whole day together with Mrs. Evans. "Abigail, you're such a genius. You even know your way around computers, apparently. I thought I'd have to take it to a repair shop. I mentioned it to Eugene, but he never listens. He's always caught up in his work." "Yes, it was nothing serious, just a simple virus. I ran a program, and everything is fine now. If it were a different issue, I might not have been able to handle it. Listen, Abigail, I'm going shopping. Will you keep me company?" "With pleasure. I enjoy spending time with you so much. You remind me of my mom." Tears welled up in Abigail's eyes, and she quickly wiped them away. "I'm sorry, it just slipped out. If it makes you uncomfortable, I apologize again." Mrs. Evans smiled warmly at Abigail and replied, "Don't worry, dear. I'm glad to have you here. We love you like our own daughter." They then went shopping together. "Oh, Abigail, how could you even think of hurting me? I'm deeply touched by your words. Besides, I understand you very well. You've been through so much in life. Mr. Evans told me a lot about you." "Yes, I'm grateful to Mr. Evans. He has truly changed my life. I never thought such a thing was possible. He changed your life, and you changed our son's. You have no idea how thankful I am. Thanks to you, there's peace and harmony in our home now. I'm not constantly on edge, and Mr. Evans has become more joyful and sociable. Anthony and Daria are in perfect harmony. They're always discussing something. My son seeks advice from his father, and it's wonderful. Thank you, it's all because of you." The vacation passed quickly, and Abigail started attending college. Meanwhile, Anthony was rapidly advancing in his career. His father was pleased with him, unaware that Anthony was doing it all for Abigail. A friend of Mr. Evans visited him from Germany. He also had his own construction company and brought along a promising business idea that could yield substantial dividends. "By the way, your son is already a grown man. Aren't you thinking about getting him married?" "Well, he doesn't seem to be considering it at the moment." "Why do you ask?" The friend took out a photograph and showed it to them. "Look at my daughter. She's already of marriageable age. Perhaps we should consider merging our companies." "That sounds great, it's a thought. Is she in Germany too, or here?" "She'll be here soon. So, let's introduce them and arrange their marriage. Why wait any longer?" Mr. Evans sent Anthony on a business trip and then called Abigail into his office. "Well, Abigail, we no longer require your services. You've done exceptionally well with your task. You've turned my son into a man. Here's the address. I've bought you an apartment as promised. It comes furnished, so everything is in order. And here are the funds. You can move in tomorrow." Abigail walked into the room and burst into tears. She once again felt like that little girl with that overwhelming sense of loneliness. Now she was alone again. True, she had an apartment, and her education was progressing well, but something didn't feel right in her heart. Abigail tried not to think about Anthony because she knew that if she did, she wouldn't be able to leave. She had fallen in love with him so deeply that she couldn't think of anyone else. Before he left, he proposed to her. He told her he loved her and wanted her to be his wife. In the evening, as Abigail came out of her room to have some tea, she overheard a conversation between Mr. Evans and his wife. "He proposed that our children should get married. I think it would be a brilliant match for our son. Are you sure Anthony will agree to this? You should ask him first. My son is very clever. He'll understand that it's a beneficial arrangement and will agree with me." "Did you marry me knowing it was a beneficial arrangement?" "That's a different matter. Things were different back then. Believe me, if my parents had offered me such a deal, I would never have refused." "I see. So, you're saying you don't love anyone, you only have business on your mind. Well, then, what about Abigail?" "Abigail is leaving tomorrow, as we agreed. I bought her an apartment and gave her money, so now she has a place to call home, the necessary documents. And once she finishes her studies, I'll help her find a good job. She has fulfilled her mission. Poor girl. I genuinely feel sorry for her. Why? She got everything we agreed upon, so I believe she should be satisfied. You're supposed to be a mature, intelligent man, yet you treat people as expendable commodities. You use them and discard them. But you can't live like this, you're scaring me. They continued to talk about something else for a while, but Abigail wasn't listening anymore. She returned to her room and burst into tears again. She didn't understand why she felt so terrible, even though everything had gone according to plan. All the agreements had been upheld, but she felt deeply unsettled. She spent the entire night packing her belongings, books, and notebooks, making sure not to leave anything behind. Abigail decided not to go to college, but to move into her new apartment instead. She needed to figure out how to get to the institute on her own because she had become accustomed to Anthony driving her around. Abigail liked her new apartment. It had one bedroom, a hallway, a bathroom, and a spacious kitchen. The furniture was new and beautiful. She unpacked her belongings, neatly arranging everything in closets and on shelves. She opened the new refrigerator, which was still empty and not yet plugged in. Abigail turned it on and prepared to go grocery shopping. The store happened to be nearby. Abigail walked through the aisles, reminiscing about how she had recently gone shopping with Mrs. Evans. She suddenly felt a pain in her heart, realizing that she hadn't even said goodbye because she knew she wouldn't be able to hold back her tears. Meanwhile, Anthony returned home and immediately headed to Abigail's room. She hadn't answered his calls for the past 2 days, and her phone was constantly off. He had tried to talk to his father, but his father skillfully avoided the topic. So, he decided to investigate on his own. When he opened the door, he found the room empty, devoid of her belongings, books, and notes. He wanted to talk to his mother, but she wasn't at home. Anthony then went to his father's office. Inside, he found Mr. Evans with an old friend who frequently visited them. "Hello, Mr. Mitchell," Anthony politely greeted his father's friend when he saw that his father wasn't alone. "Anthony, is that you? I almost didn't recognize you. You've grown into such a handsome young man. Well done. I've heard all about you from your father. He can't stop praising you. By the way, Anthony, you've arrived just in time. We were discussing you. Well, you two continue your conversation, and I need to head to the airport to pick up my family." Once they were alone, Anthony asked, "Dad, where is Abigail? Why are her things not at home?" "Oh, forget about her already. She has fulfilled her mission and is now free. You should listen to my proposal. It's very beneficial for us." "Wait, Dad. What mission are you talking about?" "You see, I brought her here on purpose to give you to feel something for her. She's from an orphanage, has no one. Besides, she's not our equal, so you need to think about something else now. There's a lucrative offer. You'll marry Nellie. Remember, she visited us when she was little, and now she has turned into such a beauty. Forget it, Dad, there won't be any wedding. In case you've forgotten, let me remind you. You already brought me a wife, those were your words. So, I'm a dutiful son, I always fulfill your wishes." Anthony walked out of the office, leaving Mr. Evans in stunned silence in his chair. Meanwhile, the doorbell rang at Abigail's apartment. She shrugged in surprise and went to answer it. Standing at the doorstep was Anthony, holding a bouquet of flowers. "If you thought you could run away from me, I'll tell you it's a bad idea. You won't succeed," he said with a smile. "Now, get ready, and let's go home. My mom is eagerly waiting for her future bride." Thank you for joining us today on Deep Stories. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video.